we have absolutely no shortage of people, but we have shortage of talent. I think India is the leader in terms of closing those talent gaps faster. AI is making us go very fast. What I want to tell to the general audience is that when my machine modeling is helping me to manage a threat better, but what happens if the machine models are malignant in themselves?
From Skillmine's experience, what more do you think the government can do, or at the same time, what more organizations like yours they can do?
So the boardroom awareness is no more an ask, it is a mandatory must, and people who are not aware are not eligible for a boardroom seat. That's the hard stance which the industry needs to take everywhere.
What do you like to see in India's next gen cybersecurity strategy that helps to accelerate, let's say, talent, standardization of things, and at the same time, public-private collaboration, which is an interesting space. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Cyber Suraksha Dialogues presented by Velox Media. In today's episode, we're joined by Mr. Anant Agrawal. He's the CEO and Managing Director of Skillmine Technology Consulting. Anandji, welcome. Thanks for joining us. And thanks for giving your time for this discussion.
No, I'm equally excited. Thank you for having me.
I hope it's going to be really interesting, right?
Yeah, let's try to make it interesting.
Indeed. Perfect. To start with, Anandji, if you can just give us a brief insight into Skillmine, what the company is. It's already, I think, 15 years old company, right?
Yeah.
So,
this year we are celebrating the 15th year of Skillmine.
Many congratulations to you.
Thank you so much for that. The celebrations are more for the team which I have.
Indeed.
Because it's the team which keeps flowing us forward. Ever since founding, we were never building a bus or a train. We were always building a plane.
Wow.
And that plane has to transform itself into a rocket. So primarily, it's a tech enterprise, a solutions enterprise. And we do so much in tech. Everybody in a Skillmine, including myself, are hands-on techies, right? Okay. So we know the power of our fingertips to play the tech pianos on our keyboards. But having said that, moving on with the times, I mean, we have seen the pandemic. That was for our lifetime, but for a business of 10 years old, passing through the pandemic with growth. Although people say that IT companies really grew quite nicely during pandemic, but it was very, very testing times for all of us with culture changing. So that way, I mean, we have added so much to our offerings and our solution segment. And now we are actually, that has propelled us. So a tech enterprise with solutions, with our own products, with our own AI models is something which Skillmine has achieved over the last 15 years. And I'm very lucky and very proud and very thankful to the teams and the customers and the colleagues and the communities for all the supports which I've got. So
great. That's really generous of you, Anandji. Coming from you, I think it really adds a boost to the team as well. That you acknowledge their contribution as well. Great. Digging directly into the questions that we have listed for you. Could be a little controversial as well. So from your journey, from Skillmine journey, since it was founded in 2011.
Yes.
You've been growing consistently. You've been serving enterprise clients across industries, across domains. Now, how do you view the current and the evolving cyber talent gap? Do you see there's a shortage of people or shortage of right skills and mindset?
No.
Where do you stand on that?
Right. So there is no shortage of people. And there is always a shortage of talent.
Right.
Now, see, we live in a world which is the information blast world, right? And every day the technology changes, the business landscape changes. And it's a good change, right? I mean, anything which is changing is always good.
Absolutely.
And the the power of the Aryans and the Indian mindset and the Indian psyche, we are fabulous to actually start adopting to the change in
That's right.
technology. I mean, AI came like 2 3 years, but now we have the largest number of AI engineers in the world. So cyber is also in a very same thing. So we have absolutely no shortage of people, but we have shortage of talent because the threat vectors keep on emerging, and how the new tech which is developing, everything requires a security element added to that. And some of these new techs which are coming in a typical innovations cycle, first the tech comes, and then the management of the tech comes, and then the
That's
sustainability of the
correct.
tech comes. So cyber is always catching up, and then there is no foolproof security anywhere.
Yeah, because the
It's
threats are
always,
also evolving,
yeah, so because
right,
it's a
with
human
time.
psychology.
Yes.
So there's always a talent gap. Indians are able to cover that talent gap, and new platforms, new technologies, new techniques are emerging to also cover the talent gap and the skill
Yeah.
gaps with the new ways of doing technology. So, but I would say that there is a good 20% residual talent gap all the time,
Which is there.
because there are so many things out there which are still which are still unexposed and waiting to be exposed. There are quite a few things which are exposed. So, and it is not just India, but it is everybody in the world. I think India is the leader in terms of closing those talent gaps faster.
Really.
Right.
And that's quite promising as well. So, moving ahead, Ananji, with AI-driven threats rising rapidly, right? But at the same time, AI being used as a defensive tool. How do you see this artificial intelligence cyber synergy shaping the next generation of professionals? Just like a follow-up to the last question.
Right. It's a mixed bag, to be very honest. Right. Now, the new threat vectors coming up and the new ways of dealing with those threat vectors also is coming up. There are two sides to the coin. AI is making us go very fast.
Right.
Ultimately, what is AI? I mean, it's a set of data and a set of logics and a set of rules, and it is much more better correlated, much more faster inference, much more conclusive action to be taken.
Yeah.
So, if a human would actually analyze a log and take make a conclusion on that and then try to take an action, with AI we can do the contextualization and correlation and all that so fast,
Right.
because ultimately it's the same thing which is being done by computing. So whatever could be done in 4 hours can be done in 4 minutes. So that is the one side of the coin in terms of dealing with things and making our defense very stronger. That means our solutioning approach has become very stronger.
Yeah.
But there is a flip side to it. Ultimately, we are talking about RAGs and LLMs and things like that. And the security threats are there also.
Right.
I mean, what I want to tell to the general audience is that when my machine modeling is helping me to manage a threat better, but what happens if the machine models are malignant in themselves? Then it can lead to a double whammy.
That's correct. Yeah.
And there is a lot of work and research which is going on in terms of securing the AI engine itself. And to give you some examples, now we are talking about micro LLMs. We are talking about air gap environments. So the LLMs are very large. It can tell you how to make a pizza to what was the invention of Einstein. So that is very broad.
Yeah.
But then once you have trained your machine models, you can distill them to very specific topic. And then using those micro LLMs strategy, we can secure our AI action on our cyber security. That is one approach. And in fact, the chat GPTs and Geminis of the world have also started to think about this. And for example, Google Cloud is now starting with Google GDC, which is Google Distributed Computing. So the same LLMs which is out there in their data center is actually going to be sitting with private data centers on private clouds. So it is bringing things much more closer. It is making it much more faster and making it much more controlled, contamination free.
Yeah.
So that is one approach, but ultimately solutions development around AI security are there already, and they are getting mature much more faster
with time.
So our defense awareness is very, very high. And like we have contained the defense elements around the normal infrastructure and software layers, the AI layers and the cloud layers, the AI layers is getting mature very, very faster. I'm not talking about months, I'm talking about weeks. So every month or every few weeks, there is maturity models which are coming up.
Yeah, and bringing at a micro level makes the chances of having some loopholes minimal as possible. And as you mentioned earlier, like threat vectors have been evolving, so that is something which is highly required.
Right. Net on the AI side, I am not a pessimistic. I am an optimistic person, and a real optimism is there. And the important thing is, with the principles of human in the loop and with the principles of responsible AI, those are the two driving principles which are very, very inherent to developing cyber solutions on AI.
You have to go hand in hand.
Hand in hand.
That's correct. Absolutely. Really interesting, Anandji. Coming on to what's happening in the cyber domain from the government, from the administration side. Now government Cyber Suraksha Bharat initiative started in way back in 2018. It aims to strengthen cyber capacity and the cyber skills across India. Now, from Skillmine's experience, what more do you think the government can do, or at the same time, this was on the public on the government side, but at the same time, what more organizations like yours they can do? So I think there are like two questions in one.
Very interesting question. I have a slightly longer answer to this in few parts. I'll talk about the general governance around it, and then what government can do more and what companies like a Skillmine can do more, or maybe I'll flip that. So, if you look at, the overall thing, India being the largest computing resources, the largest data consumer and things like that.
Yeah.
But we have been dependent on a lot of foreign technologies.
Absolutely.
To manage even our bases. That's a little bit ironic also, but it's not something which I will be super critical, because that also gives us more leverage to learn from others, which is not bad. And it is only a smart thing that to learn from others. So we are in that particular mode of storming, forming, norming, and performing. So we have stormed in some stages, we have formed in some stages, we have normed in some stages. UPI and others are very fantastic examples of performing in a lot of things, right? So having said that, India is very fast, government promoted, privately promoted, make in India and things like that. We have so many things which are emerging, which are our own technologies done our way for our businesses and our environments. BSNL has recently launched its own 5G infrastructure.
It's quite interesting.
And that entire 5G network of BSNL is on indigenous network switching, routing, and everything. So I just wanted to share this, that we are doing that in our networking segment. And network is the backbone for IT, computing, and cyber. So I know at least more than 50 such names whereby Indian enterprises have indigenously developed our own solutions. Some of the larger Indian enterprises have acquired solutions from outside and made them totally Indian-centric. I have a lot of examples for that without taking names. And the government does it in 2-3 stages. So Startup India and promoting the startup. If you look at trying to open up the defense sector, and then also whether it is technology transfers and then making Indian companies to actually do the defense, not about armory, but on the cyber side and all that.
Yeah.
So that is another thing. So touchwood, the Indian government is much more advanced in thinking, although the actions does take time to see the results on the ground. But there are good government policies to make the technology indigenous in Indian way, which is in our control and things like that. Right. Look at India also has the largest, most accelerated speed in creating our own data center capacity. So,
A lot of work has been happening on that side as well.
I live in Mumbai, and then Navi Mumbai, and then there is something called Third Mumbai.
Yeah.
Which is in
Greater
between.
Mumbai, I think, which is coming up.
It's actually Third Mumbai.
Okay.
That's the name which I'm getting in the press. And Third Mumbai is somewhere between Mumbai, Navi Mumbai, and Pune, and that is a zero seismic zone, by the way.
Wow.
Right, so there's no earthquake there, scientifically proven, and that's a very smart move. So, very strategically scaling our capacities, our capabilities, and things like that are the government policies. And then coming back to that, the private enterprises are simply lapping it up. I'm very proud to say that it is my dream that I want to see one product, not why one product, but I've been saying that to my teams, that we need to have our one product which is actually made in India but made for the world. So we have our own, I mean, in 15 years, if you look at a Skillmine, which is a services company, has now evolved into a product engineering company, and we have 4 of our own products. 2 of them are cyber products. So we have Auth, which is a complete single sign-on, multi-factor authentication with very advanced secure features. And it is live in 7 or 8 different banks and so many NBFCs. And we have our own cyber GRC platform, Complement, which is probably one of the best, better than Archer, I would say. And then we are now pitching it very strongly to our customers, including the public sector businesses. So when a company of only 1,400 people can do that, imagine the bellwethers of Indian companies, what they can do. So, and I come across very good products and solutions. So we are enhancing all of that. So government is supporting in promotion from a funding and opportunity perspective. In fact, the GEM portal rules with GFR rules does provide a lot of free hand opportunities whereby startup companies don't have to pay for earnest money deposits. They are exempt from so many credential clauses when they compete with a particular project with the bellwethers or the foreign company solutions and all that. Having said that, there is still a long way to go.
Of course.
I mean, if you look at probably the Americas, so if it is a 400-meter relay, America probably is at 200 meter, and we are probably somewhere in around 40, 50 meters. So we are still almost halfway behind. But with 1.5 billion people compared to a 0.3 billion people, our time to speed and time to market and things like that is far more better.
That's
and we have seen that in terms of how we catch up and all that. So it's very exciting times for the tech business and the technology.
And we do come with our own challenges. Sideways, vis-a-vis the opportunity as well.
See, India as a civilization, one of the oldest, the Indus Valley or whatever we want to call it, it is our intrinsic nature that we Indians are perennial seekers. When we get one truth, we still want to continue to look for what's more.
That's correct.
And that juggernaut keeps on rolling. So when we have achieved something, then what next can be done? We really are never satisfied.
That's right.
So that's our perennial civilization. So that's a a good thing, but it also poses its own challenges,
Of
whereby
course.
everything always gets questioned, everything
Correct.
sometimes is looked at with certain cynicism. So criticality has to be there.
there.
It can be taken in a good way, bad way, and
Yeah.
that kind of brings the stability of our thought process. Some grounding happens. Yes, some setback also happens.
Of course.
So, but that comes from our a lot of our civilizations and the
Indeed.
old age methods of
But
doing
it's a very
things.
positive narrative that you are setting as well, that the administration, the infrastructure support is there, which kind of
Well, working with so many government authorities in my last 1 year with starting our public sector business unit, I'm short of words. I'm fathomed about how much awareness and knowledge is there in our executive force. Our IAS, IPS are fabulously aware of how things should be done, and some of the things which comes from the policy making with our parliamentary task force, which is led by Mr. Mohandas Pai. So a lot of those things are very much in the so it's not like there are blind spots.
Yeah.
Very well aware of the things, what needs to be done, how needs to be done. Yeah, the funds, the talent, the willingness, the technology enablement, and all that has got its own things to get from. I mean, we are no more, so we have moved from beginner to intermediate to advanced. Now we need to get into the world expert level.
Yeah.
And that comes with a level of time and experience and getting some setbacks and all that. So it's just a matter of time.
Completely agree with you. Yeah, it's a matter of time as well. Now taking your thoughts, your points on Cyber Suraksha Bharat, if we have to broaden the aperture beyond the government CISOs, right? What would be the next low cost yet high impact step you think or you suggest the government and the industry could co-create in the near future?
So there are multiple things which are in the works. I have collided with quite a bit of policy makers, with a few educational secretaries. One was my interaction within the Telangana government, another one with the Chhattisgarh government. And I am wondering that why there is a delay in making cyber security as a permanent subject from high schools in India. It is very, very much needed.
That's interesting.
And I want to use your channel and this platform to appeal to the government that they should look into this very seriously. Like our kids are taught physics, chemistry, biology, mathematics.
Even coding as well nowadays.
Yeah. And coding. Coding is a little lesser, but cyber security as a subject should be taught, because it's our kids in the class 4th or 5th from the adolescence ages. They are the ones who start getting into the digital ways of education, and they are very, very fertile ground for the attacks and abuses and things like that. So that will make the society much more aware. And that will become a breeding ground for innovators and solutions and things like that. So it has to start with that. China did the same thing with their English education in 2000. So answering your question on what government can more do, while government is providing a lot of resources on the supply side of things, government has to also start to put some mechanisms on the demand side of things, right? So some of the government enterprises do put a norm for Make in India solutions and Make in India products. A lot of that is a little diluted as well, in terms of there are certain exceptional rules and all that. And then how some of the things are looked at. Not everything can be looked at with a L1 level pricing and a reverse auction. Some people will never be able to compete with it. So the solutioning side of it from a demand side generation should be supported well. That will create that jump board for our Indian companies and Indian solutions to actually get more competitive and reach out. At the same time, keep the competitive nature of the things very strict. So it's not like being generous about it, but keep it competitive, but make it, I wouldn't use the word favorable, but make it fertile for competition.
Yeah, where they get a common ground kind of
Yeah,
a thing, and
more
where,
of a common ground kind
then
of
it
a thing.
depends on their own
Because if
capacities.
somebody is here and we are starting from
Exactly.
here, then that's what the reservation system is. I'm not asking for a reservation here, but some degree of more fertility around pushing for that particular thing. At the same time, when new strategies are being planned, how can those new strategies can be getting into a co-creation mode? So
That's interesting.
right.
Yes.
For example, if you look at how the renewable energy is shaping up in India, whether it is EV batteries or the hydrogens and things like that,
Absolutely.
right? Some of these technologies and things like that cannot be just a technology transfer from the developed, from the already matured tech world outside India. So some of those partnerships can be done internally in multi-organizational collaboration schemes and things like that. I think breaking the silos is very, very important. If ISRO is working on something and DRDO is working on something, or our Vande Bharat, which is developed by the Indian Railways, they are using partner ecosystems. But
right.
I think the partner ecosystems is more used in delivery. What about using the partner systems in research, in R&D, in co-creating things and all that? That will help a lot to the general mental growth of the tech enterprises and things like that.
That comes the expert side of having a veteran on the speaking side. Really interesting, Anandji. Moving on now, let's touch base a different aspect into the cybersecurity. Now, how do you see cybersecurity evolving as part of the corporate governance? Now, should cyber awareness be a boardroom level KPI, do you think?
I want to again use your channel or use this platform to kind of pass this message. I think it was 10 years back when a lot of boardroom authorities had one guy who, he used to be told that you take care of cybersecurity and the governance. Thanks to a lot of development all across from a governance environment, the regulation has become very tight. And the regulation has become good. At the same time, it is becoming more and more enforceable. So RBI is very strict on the cyber related things for banks. Same is the case with IRDA for insurance companies. Same is the case with SEBI for asset managers, asset owners and fund managers and stock traders and things like that. But coming to the fact, 10 years back, it was you take care of it.
Right.
That has changed drastically. That we all need to be take care of that. When I want to be very clear that when I am providing cybersecurity managed services to quite a few entities, and every year I do a cybersecurity awareness session to the board, and I do that myself, and we demand for that. Many times the customers themselves are proactive to ask for it, but then suppliers also needs to be, or supplying partners also need to be doing that. I would say that particular awareness of, yes, we need to be more cyber aware is still probably 30, 40, 50%. I don't have a number for that, but I don't think it is more than 50%. The remaining 50% of the business who are medium enterprises or large enterprises still have that old school thought that have one guy who will take care of this. That is very, very underestimating the threat of cyber, right? CEO is spoofing. My finance guy gets an email with my signature to say that make this payment. Right. And the finance guy, CFO will approve it. Okay, this is coming from my CEO, and then somebody gets paid. I've seen such cases as well. A false email going to the employees from the CEO. And there are various different methods or attack vectors which the hackers use for that. And a lot of them are only external emails. But the point is that unless we are aware of that, we put up our processes for that. So the boardroom awareness is no more an ask. It is a mandatory must trust. And people who are not aware are not eligible for a boardroom seat. That's the hard stance which the industry needs to take everywhere. I mean, I have a lot of family, my brothers run a lot of family business, and some of them are manufacturers who run steel plants, who run large contract businesses and all that. They are not aware. And I always fight with them that you need to do this. And I try to do. Sometimes we meet together in family occasions and all that. I take. So we are 14 brothers. So we'll gather all the 14 and I'll say that I need 15 minutes. 6 of them will leave. So it has to come through. There has been frauds which has been committing and all that. It's no more an option.
It is something that has to be taken up very seriously.
It should be taken up very seriously. It's mandatory. It should be a eligibility criteria.
Something that becomes part of your culture.
It has to be part of.
Get imbibed in your DNA. As a
it's like in my 24 hours, I need to find 30 minutes to 40 minutes to exercise. You need to be cyber aware and you need to know what is cyber to be able to have a leadership position.
That's a very clear direction.
Yeah.
Great. I think as one of my last questions now, looking ahead into the future, what do you like to see in India's next gen cybersecurity strategy that helps to accelerate, let's say, talent, standardization of things, and at the same time, public-private collaboration, which is an interesting space.
I think so all the three aspects of talent, the public-private collaboration, the policy side of things and all that. There is fourth element around the technology side of things. Let's start with the technology side of things first, and then we will go to the three things. Sure. India was a 1 trillion economy 10, 12 years back. It's now a 4 trillion economy. The CAGR of growing at 7, 8%. Growth is good, but then it brings on its own challenges as well, right? So if you look at the amount of compute and distributed information which is right now there, it's already overloaded and this is going to grow multifold with robotics and everything.
Agreed.
So having said that, there has to be technology. We cannot talk about automation anymore. We have to talk about hyper automation, alpha computings and things like that. And that is what the quantum ways of doing things and all that, right? So quantum securities and all that, which we have to talk about. So the tech has to move there. The hyper automation platforms are already getting created because humanly we cannot manage, even AI based, we cannot manage the number of alarms and threat vectors is sprawling across everywhere. So there is a lot of work which is going on, and that is where the hyper automation part and the quantum security aspects are already the talks of the town in tech companies to actually do that. Right. Similarly with talent, a lot of cyber security basics are not now required to be done by humans. They are automated, they are standardized already, blue book approach, and converting those blue bricks into automation, agentic AI frameworks and all that. So the basics are already taken care. Yeah. We need humans to be starting to get into the human in the loop with using and exploiting AI engines to actually exploit the point which is there in terms of stopping exploitations and things like that. So our engineers needs to think 2 steps ahead.
Right.
And threat intel and forensics and threat hunting are the 3 areas where we always need to be more and more advanced. So threat intel means we're trying to be doing observations around why something is happening like that, to be able to do that threat intel that something like that could happen. Mm-hmm. And if we come across 5 line items on threat intel as possibilities, then we do threat hunting. And then we do the threat hunting, then we do the forensics to identify where it is happening and plug the gap in. And then try to create forensic engines which will actually detect. So EDRs and XDRs and things like a lot of those technologies.
Kind of vigilante kind of mindset has to be.
So that is where the human capital needs to think about. Try not to be elementary. You need to change your game and your mental capacity to move, to actually manage the threat rather than detecting it. Right? And we need to be offensive about it, not defensive about it. Let's attack it. Coming to the government policies around things like that, while from an economic and from a tech landscape and from a supporting the private enterprises, it is there. But then the government policies also needs to get into three steps ahead in terms of creating those mechanisms of where what is that we are looking forward. Otherwise, we will always be laggard in the world stage.
Correct.
And that's where it leads naturally to the public-private partnerships. I am not wrong, but I think the 5G network was created in collaboration with TCS for BSNL. Similar kind of things in terms of how do the advanced technologies are done with high financial muscle, with long-term talent gravitating around research and development and all that. There are n number of companies who want to contribute to this. Our own knowledge retention, learning, and AI build platform for Skillzen is something which we have developed indigenously, which actually standardizes the SOPs and things like that. And when we approach our customers, when some customers don't have budget, we say that take it for free because
Interesting.
I mean, how do you contribute? At my age of something, I don't really work for money anymore. I
course.
mean, I look at value creation. We
Kind of
need to be
impact that
patriots.
you-
We need to be patriots.
Yeah.
Whether and it's not about our soldiers or army who are on the borders, but as tech guys, we can be patriots to actually
Indeed.
every citizen can be that. So that is something which we try to do that. And once they are offered for free, they are happy to do POCs, and then they understand the power, and then they want to know more and more and all that. And at some point of time, they will budget for it.
Correct.
Because they know that this is where the future is
Once
moving
they understand
towards.
the value of
So,
it, really.
public-private partnerships, but I would really appeal to the entrepreneurs and the leaders that don't really try to wait for support. I think you have enough motivation and enough leadership quotient inside. And if all of entrepreneurs like me, if they do their own tiny bit, we are not handicapped people that we need support to make our effort count.
Yeah.
But every little helps. So we should continue to do that and continue to make an effort.
That's really inspiring, Anantji, as well. Before we conclude the discussion, just as a question from my side, and for our young audience as well, who are into the cybersecurity space. So, hypothetically talking, let's assume that I'm a professional who's getting into this. I run a small company into the cybersecurity space. I'm just like 3-4 years old. But what would be those 2-3 focus areas which you would suggest me to be looking at for the next 5 years? Which
One of the key things as a, let's say, I mean, you gave me a example that as a small business or a small
Exactly, yeah.
entrepreneur. First of all, to entrepreneurs, this is not something with cybersecurity, but you first look into a matter that in the world of cybersecurity, what is your real passion about? Cybersecurity from a domain perspective, there is GRC, there is SOC, there is business continuity, there is technology security, cloud security, AI security. There's so many things, DevSecOps, so many technology horizontals and verticals around it. I think doesn't matter whether it's a small or large, focus on 1-2 areas which is your passion and create that solid mental ground for yourself that if this is my passion, this is what I'm going to follow. That is what you actually try to concentrate your efforts onto 1 or 2 things. Don't try to get into 3 things. And then you build your solid capability and capacity around that. Now, talent is not something which is only available outside.
That's correct,
Right?
yeah.
You can create talent. The young population in India are very, very smart. When I talk to the younger generation, I feel that, oh, wow, if I was this generation, I could have done
Indeed,
so
yeah.
many different.
They're very keen.
They're very, very keen. And they work very differently.
Right.
If they find their spark, then they actually work 24 hours. I've seen that.
That's correct.
Right. I don't really get into this entitled generation debate, and I don't like that. I find the younger generation very, very smart. We as the older generation are not able to give them the torchlight to run with it for
We
their
work on
marathon.
efficiency.
Yeah, so they're all about efficiency. Having said that particular focus areas, you can cook talent. And trust me, people like me, and there are so many people like me out there, and who are much more wiser and experienced than me. They are all available as a consultants. You go to any social platform, you ask for help, you ask for advice. There is everybody available too. If you, even if a small startup, maybe they think that should I go to Nandan Nilekani, whether he respond. Try, he will respond. Always,
Yeah.
right? The industry leaders who are this, they are always very, very open
Yeah.
to respond.
And there have been examples.
Right.
to
So
that
it
as
does
well.
not require money. It requires the guts
Right.
to actually go and reach
Take
out
that
there,
initiative.
take that initiative.
Yeah.
Come on, wake out of your bed, kick out of your blanket, and smell the
just leave the
coffee and
comfort
run
zone.
with it. So that is something which smaller companies can do, because they have great focus, great motivation, and great passion around it. And with the government support around funding, with the talent available, come on, you can distribute your equity, you can do something around it, you can create something. And nowadays, whether it is NASCOM and so many different institutes, they invite people to demo, showcase their products. They are MSME and startup related forums which you can show, and then they get awarded and promoted and all that. Even if you can reach out to larger companies and say that I've solved this particular problem, and can you give me a lab testing ground to test it and outlet? Trust me, it is out there, right? You just have to ask. And if you get one or two or three no's, don't stop.
Of course.
Don't stop until you get your yes.
Being persistent.
So being persistent about it. Right. And those who are getting frustrated with it, come to me. I'll give you a little bit of maneuvering ground, how to maneuver the traffic.
Excellent.
I can open up my network to, always available to help, right? Ultimately, so those are some of the things which smaller companies can look at. But you need to be very, very focused and good at what you do.
And there's ample ground to play in.
And there is ample ground to play. There's ample opportunities to learn. The world is full of abundance. If you look at whether it is the sunshine or the water in our seas and rivers or anything, the world is full of abundance. So, I mean, it's your effort to claim the name to fame, right?
Great. Those are some golden words, Anantji. I think that concludes our discussion. But I'm sure that we can go more and more, and we'll definitely be engaging with you in future. Thanks for your time as well. Thanks for being with us today, and giving such valuable insights and inputs.
Oh man, the pleasure is all mine. Thanks for having me, and I must say that some really insightful questions.
Indeed.
I hope I was able to do justice to it, but happy to get feedback from you and from your audiences. And thanks for having me again, and thanks for listening and watching to this. Thank you.